हेलो व्यूअर्स। मैं हूं विभूति झा और ये है जयपुर डायलॉग यूएसए एंड जयपुर डायलॉग। Today I'm in a mixed state of mind, whether to do it in English or Hindi, but I would stick to English today because we are talking about American politics, and that is the emergence of Indian Americans on the Republican side, which is remarkably wonderful. We have so far in America about five Indian Americans who are congressmen in the US Congress. Five. But in the Republican side, you had Vivek Ramaswamy rising to become the president of America. He contested. He will be forever known as the presidential candidate. So he elevated the entire conversation about Indianness, being a Hindu, to a very important level. Now, second person who has suddenly become very prominent is since Mr. Trump selected Mr. J.D. Vance as his vice presidential candidate, his wife happens to be Usha Vance. Usha is obviously a very Indian name, and she's from Andhra and she is very much part of the entire process. So suddenly you have Usha likely to become the second lady in American politics if President Trump wins and if Mr. Vance is out there, of course. So in the yesterday's acceptance speech, J.D. Vance was introduced by Usha Vance. And she was very simple, very polite, very elegant, in her introduction of her husband, J.D. Vance. And she stuck to two things very importantly. She did talk about she being a vegetarian and the fact that she was a Hindu, right? And the fact that they were colleagues, they were batchmates at Yale, including Vivek. They were all batchmates at Yale, and at a Yale, which is an Ivy League, totally woke place, there were Republicans there. So now suddenly, once again, the Indian Hindu name has come out in the open. And what is fascinating is to see the response. Now, I take a step back to talk about it. The strong group of evangelical Christians, they are suddenly uncomfortable to see the rise of Indians in the Republican hierarchy or the ambition. Remember, these people are not wannabes. These people are not being brought in the place because to fulfill a quota or an affirmative action. They are there because of their merit. Usha is a remarkably qualified. Look at the substantive works that she has done. Apart from being a Yale law graduate, she has also been a clerk to Supreme Court Judge Roberts and Brett Kavanaugh. So there is significant talent out there, which is a proven talent. So the point of the matter is the Republican Party and the evangelicals, particularly, who are raising their voice against the Hindus who are penetrating the Republican Party, they should pipe down. They must pipe down because Mr. Trump selected J.D. Vance knowing full well that his wife was a Hindu, vegetarian, and they were married. They were not living partners. This is very, very important to understand for the Republican Party. And that's where I want to urge that Indians must step up at this point in time. See, the responsibility on both sides is on both sides. Many evangelicals are operating from their own space of their knowledge and convictions and their beliefs and their hard-headedness. That comes with the extreme practicing of any faith. I'm okay with that. I'm a Hindu. I don't hate anybody. I'm accepting you for you are. Why don't you accept us for who we are? It throws the entire freedom of religion into a dispute when you openly talk about it. Just remember, we all remember that the famous interview that Ann Coulter, who is a remarkably strong, extreme right-wing Republican, who interviewed Vivek Ramaswamy only to tell him that despite being a great candidate and great values, I will not vote for you because you are a Hindu. or not a Christian. And Vivek, of course, handled that entire thing remarkably well. That Ann Coulter was put in place. If I were she, I would be ashamed of myself. So Ann Coulter, if you are listening to this, remember, you have to embrace people. You have to accept people. You have to respect people for what they are and who they are. So Usha Vance stood her ground. I'm very proud of her. Very proud of her. And the fact that she addressed the Republican National Convention in a remarkable professional way. So the critics will always find flaws. There was one strong evangelical guy who even said that Hindus have no place in America. As it is, we are the least violent, most law abiding group of people, professionals contributing to the community, but we don't say anything. We don't ask for anything. It's time for Hindus, I will specify Hindus, because Indians of other variety, they make their demands. But Hindus particularly do not know how to make their demands. So it is time to don the mantle of being a pracharak. It is not enough to condemn the evangelical outrage against Hinduism, which is fine. They are doing it based on what they feel and fear. It's important to bear that in mind. What they feel and what they fear. What we have to do is to reach out to them and talk to them. Become our own pracharak at this point in time. Nobody is going to do that. No American is going to do that for you. They will do whatever it is. But unless and until you and I join hands and speak up, reach out to them, and I'm extending my invitation to any evangelical who is anti-Hindu for knowing what he knows or knowing what he doesn't know. If you are blind to your blindness, you obviously do not know what you are getting into. That's what is important. So this is my call today. Usha's address to Republican National Convention, Vivek's strong fight and presence in the Republican administration, Republican Party right now. A lot of people are so unhappy that he is not the candidate. It's nice to know that. But we also have to be known to know that why he wasn't. Maybe he's not interested in vice presidential position. Whatever it is. But if Vivek and Usha can stand up for us, it's time for you and I, every single Indian and Hindu particularly, to rise and speak up, interact, engage with the evangelicals and every group of people to say that we are not what you fear or feel, or you are fed the bogus and wrong information. We are as important in the world as a God created people. I am naturally tan, you are white. You are blaming God for that? Or what? This is the question you have to ask very fairly, bluntly, openly, and honestly. If you do not engage in conversation, people form opinions based on whatever little they know. So my thing is that now that evangelicals are seriously concerned, you know why? Because the assassination bid on Trump has definitely thrown up the question that the VP could be a potential president. And then it will be an Indian Hindu vegetarian girl in the White House. God forbid, I'm not imagining that at all. I mean, I admire Mr. Trump for what he is, and I supported him right from the beginning, just as I supported Mr. Modi right from the beginning. So the question here is very simple. The fear is what? We have to address that. And this is critical for all Indians today in this world, in America, particularly engage. My message to Republican Party is, look at Democrats. They have five, as I mentioned to you earlier on, they have 5 Indians in Congress. It's time for you to plan and make sure that Indian Republicans are also sent to the, in places of power and visual importance given to them. So otherwise, why would any Indian join you? If you display this kind of a hate, or a strong faction within Republican Party shows that kind of an hate and ignorance, non-acceptance, disrespect to us, why would any Indian join Republican Party? You are losing a very significant immigrant group. Don't do that. With these words, I urge upon all of you to stand for truth, respect, and acceptance of each one of us as fellow human being created by God. Thank you. Satyamev Jayate.